What's up, Capoeira Nation? Welcome back to the Capoeira Experience podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being back and listening to the Capoeira. This is a podcast for the Capoeira community. This is pretty much for us to share the knowledge, information, and whatever can help us to grow our Capoeira community and grow and bring more people to Capoeira community so the Capoeira community can grow and also support each other. So today I have a very good two special guests because they are running a really cool program in Ohio. I think it's really cool how we can bring new information for people that they don't know about capoeira, how capoeira grows, how capoeira can interact, and how that can affect their life the same way have affected many life of many of us. Capoeira changed my life, and capoeira changed the life of many people, and I've seen it where people like go out of the streets just because of capoeira. Um, just as an example, right? So let me introduce you to Leila and my brother Beriba. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good. How are you?
Good. We're very happy to have you guys here, and then I've seen you guys, especially in Beriba's Instagram. I saw your post about this program is really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah. So let's do a little quick background so everybody or whoever is listening to a podcast can get to know you guys. Let's start with Leila.
Yeah.
Tell me
So
all your story. Your
Leila
background.
Vieira.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
from Brazil. My name is Leila Vieira. I'm from Brazil originally. I study languages and literatures, and I came to the U.S. about 10 years ago to do my graduate studies. So I did
Cool.
a master's first in Indiana, and then I came to Ohio. I did my
Indiana?
yeah. I was
Oh,
at
cool. Where in Indiana?
Notre Dame. It's in South Bend.
Oh, South Bend. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I was
it's
here.
close to the border of Michigan.
Oh, cool. Oh, there,
Yeah.
all the way up there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I graduated from with my PhD about 2 years ago, and now I'm the Portuguese language coordinator at the Ohio State University. So people who study Portuguese 1, 2, and 3, I'm coordinating those classes. I've always liked capoeira, even when I was living in Brazil, but I never had the opportunity to practice and learn about it.
Yeah.
Coming to the US, of course, my relationship to capoeira changed because it's a way to be connected to my home country.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, since having kids, this became even more important because I want them to have something. Like,
yeah.
they're so Americanized in a way, and I think capoeira is it's something I wanted to keep in their lives so that they knew and are proud of, like not just soccer and basketball, but also like you should know this about your country.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then how do you get connected to the university?
Well, I worked there at the university.
Oh,
so
cool, okay.
And as language program coordinator for Portuguese, part of my job is getting people to know that Portuguese is a language that everyone comes in, they want to take Spanish or they want to take French or Italian, some of those more popular languages, I guess. And with Portuguese, have the added challenge, I guess, to get students interested in Portuguese. And part of my job, so I get a teaching release to do some of these outreach and recruiting things, efforts, which is how this project came about.
That's pretty cool. What about you, Video? A little bit of your background and everything.
Sure. So, hello everyone, and thank you, Kashi, for having us here. It's amazing to have the opportunity to talk more about this and the amazing work that Leila's been doing. So I started training capoeira in 2008 back in Ecuador. I'm originally from Ecuador. And that was when I was an undergrad student. From the moment I came in contact with capoeira, it was like I fell in love.
Yeah.
I know many people will relate to that.
Nice.
How it's just right. So capoeira for me came as this way of like doing something more, and then little by little the interest became something more than that, and I wanted to just explore capoeira from many different perspectives.
Yeah.
So I kept training in Ecuador, but then what happened was that when I applied for my master's program here in the US and I came here, um, I started exploring capoeira from the different perspectives of what academia has trying to connect.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like, okay, there's a lot of research already around capoeira, but how is it that this knowledge is like so disconnected sometimes from us, like from the community that practices capoeira? So one of my motivations has been to try to create a bridge between those two worlds.
Nice.
And yeah, and actually I my research for the master's program was around capoeira, my experience and the experience of capoeiristas in back in Ecuador. Um, and then after my master's, I had the opportunity um, to work at OSU
Okay.
as at the Center for Latin American Studies.
Nice.
And there I wanted to uh, start like creating ways to promote capoeira a little bit more, because in Columbus there are some capoeiristas, but there has not been like so far right now there's not like a process that has been like developing for too many years. So
Yeah.
I was thinking that maybe it was a good idea to start like working on a community in Columbus, but also wherever, right? So even here at Ohio University in Athens, where I did my master's, I also taught a couple workshops. Now I'm teaching actually these days at a regional dance college of dance conference. So it's amazing how it's been possible to take capoeira to all these places around academia, and that people see like the value that
Yeah.
capoeira has, right? And then so yeah, and then for me, my particular experience was that capoeira has given me all the tools that have allowed me to be in grad school. I was recently accepted at the PhD program in Portuguese at OSU.
Oh, nice.
But all of that was thanks to capoeira and all the
Yeah.
work I've done. I remember many years ago, someone in my undergrad school told me like, "What are you? Why don't you stop?" They said like, "Why don't you stop jumping? Like that will get you nowhere." And it's like, well, no, look how far capoeira has allowed me to go,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I think for me it's important that I can share with people, and now with the kids at K-12 institutions, what art and what like culture and other practices like capoeira can bring to you, and
Yeah.
the amazing
Yeah. Yeah.
opportunities that it can open for you.
Yeah. Yeah, because capoeira is just like I've seen like kids like addicted to drugs and kids in the streets. And then like perfect example in Brazil, in Bahia, this Mestre Boyenchi, he has a huge kids program where he it is actually a small documentary in YouTube where he's been taking kids out of the streets and the favelas there in Bahia and helping them. And then with the radio he has helping the kids to is bring the kids everywhere to do demonstrations. It's really cool how capoeira is just like the tools that can give you to get out of whatever situation you are. And
Definitely.
then yeah. The how long has been this program been going on in the
Yeah, so we call the program Capoeira in the Classroom.
okay.
The goal is to bring capoeira into these K through 12 classrooms.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go to the gym, but that's not
Yeah.
the school. But and we started this spring, so I think February was our first visit, So it hasn't been long, but we've already reached like over 250
Oh,
students.
cool.
With
That's
our
awesome.
visit. Yeah. And what we usually do is we do 3 visits in each school, because something that I knew I didn't want to do is just like go once and then
Yeah, for
tell
sure.
them about it and then disappear and they'll never see
Yeah,
us again.
yeah,
So we try to come more than once to each school to establish this relationship with the kids.
yeah,
I feel it becomes more meaningful to them.
yeah, for sure. It's not just any random person just coming to the presentation
Yeah.
and leaving. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. No, that's really cool. That's a good idea. And what is it? What is the age of all the kids?
So we do, our youngest was preschool, so 3-year-olds.
Oh, cool.
And our oldest was high school seniors, so 17, 18. So we've done all stages of school.
Yeah.
We created this little booklet to give them. I also wanted to
Cool.
have like something material thing for them to take home and like
Yeah.
remember capoeira.
Yeah.
And then we have 2 different guides. One is for K through 5, and then there's like coloring activities and there's a
That's
magic
awesome.
activity. And then the 6 through 12, it's more straightforward, I mean.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. And then you were about to say something, video?
No, I mean, well, so to talk a little bit more about how it started,
Oh, yeah.
I had the privilege to meet Leila because I did this workshop at OSU, and then Leila reached out and she proposed that we could like do this program, and I was like, yes, all the way, right?
Heck
Because
yeah.
it's I think that it's not always that you have the opportunity to have these spaces,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Oh, yeah.
and having like also OSU is a connection with like high schools and elementary schools. I think it's amazing. But this was initially like a whole initiative, like spearheaded by Leila. So
Yeah,
first, I
nice.
want to thank Leila for what
I
she's
want to
done.
thank Beriba, because without his expertise, it would just be me with an idea.
Yeah.
So he's an amazing capoeira instructor. The kids love him.
That's so cool, man.
And they're all super into it. Like when they're at first, some of them are a little shy, but then Beriba is able to like get them out of their comfort zone sometimes.
Yeah,
It
that's
is
so cool,
amazing.
man.
Thank you.
That's
Thanks,
cool.
Leila. But so I think this is a cool example of how, right, like the academia part can come together to the practice. Because yes, Leila says that maybe I'm a little, I can help a little bit the kids like to start like coming into capoeira, like the music, the practice, but then it's through Leila's initiative that this was also possible. And I think it will be a good thing that we keep thinking about this, because one of the things I talked about during my research in my master was precisely that, like how practice has been like very disconnected, even through research that does like a lot of ethnographic work and like
Yeah.
that uses the body as a way of knowledge.
Yeah.
There's a lot of criticism right now in the other in the academia from some parts that the practice is like still way too disconnected from the theory and like, right, so it's like all that knowledge that is produced, then where is it going? Or so I think it's a good way to use these spaces to um share that knowledge, and why not also like share a little bit more of that more academic knowledge to the capoeira community, but at the same time giving the relevance that the like mestres and maestras, like
Yeah.
people who have dedicated their lives to capoeira are considered as well as those like professionals who, even though
Sure.
it's not like a PhD title,
Yeah.
still it's something that has so much value in terms of
Oh, yeah.
knowledge, right? Like that knowledge that can be like pass on to the next generation.
Yeah.
So I think it might be a little initiative, but it can help like bridging that gap that we sometimes see.
Yeah, you said a really good important key that is happening today, and I think it's kind of like on the way of changing on how people don't take capoeira too serious because there's no like a degree or a paper, and then people are like, well, but you've been doing capoeira for this long, and how are you professional? Yeah, it's just like it's good for us to like bring that kind of material to college and to the kids to change that mentality because yes, there can be people that they can be doing capoeira for 20 years and they're not going to be teaching classes, but there's going to be those that are going to be doing capoeira for 20 years and they've been teaching for 15 years or having classes or growing a class, and then that aspect is not easy. Yes, it's
Definitely.
a how long is the program? Is the program like one a couple hours, a few weeks?
So we try to do 3 weeks back to back. So
Oh, cool. Okay.
yeah,
Nice.
and how long each session is depending on each teacher, because like they have to follow a curriculum. Some teachers are able
Oh,
to give us the whole class period. Sometimes we have to divide it, and it's like 30 minutes for one part of the class and 30 minutes for the other part.
yeah.
So we really have to adapt. I mean, mostly Beriba really has to adapt to what the teacher allows it, how long the teacher allows us to do.
Okay.
So sometimes it's like one song and two movements, and um, we try to build it up. So like the
Yeah.
first day we introduce some of the instruments and a song and some movements, and then the next day other instruments. I don't know if Beriba you want to talk more in detail about like what's your thought process when you decide, oh, let's do this song or this movement for it.
So when we were working with Leila in like framing uh, the structure of the visits,
Yeah.
and when Leila like put together the booklet, that was amazing because they take this. I helped a little, like let's use these songs, let's use these movements. So,
Yeah.
but then Leila put all that info
That's
together
so
in
cool,
this
man.
book. That I think that was wonderful because like that way at least they take something, right? But so
Yeah.
what um what I usually do, what we usually do, we talk a little bit about the the what capoeira is, being that sometimes it can be like very holistic, right? But I try to give
Yeah.
them like a context. I try to talk a little bit, depending, of course, on the level or like the age range we're working with. But I
Yeah.
talk a
I
little
thought to
bit
ask that too.
about like how capoeira is this practice that is related to those who were enslaved in the Afro-Brazilian community and also those connections to Africa. I talk very briefly about the transatlantic slave trade and like the connections like geographically, and then how practices like capoeira, not just capoeira, like developed right in this process over the
Yeah.
years. Then I tell them a little bit just that how capoeira is now like practiced in other places in the United States. And then what we do is that we either start introducing the instruments, but what we start doing with that is that we also start introducing the Portuguese language.
Oh,
So
cool. Okay.
it's like, okay, this is called pandeiro. Can you say pandeiro? The atabaque, and like giving a little bit of quick context, but then also Leila helping um, with the pronunciation of the words. So they
Yeah.
repeat. So they start like having this um, like approach, this connection not only to capoeira but also to Portuguese.
Nice.
Then sometimes we have had like the challenge to work in classrooms where like there's no space to move so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's just adapting, right? If we need to give more emphasis to the music, or if we can start like with movements that they can do in like the like spaces. We usually go right like Jenga. We play a lot with this idea of how we teach kids, like with the animals.
Yeah.
Then we go to, if there's time and if there's the space, a little bit like meia de frente, a little bit of cocorinha.
Yeah.
So those movements that start like then connecting, and Jinga, we interact a little bit with them. Even if there's time with the high school seniors, we did a whole like workshop period in which like it was like a workshop,
Oh,
but that
cool.
was possible because before that we did like a whole day visit in which we talked, we played the instruments, and then for the workshop they already had all this background,
Yeah.
and we were able to do like a bigger like workshop for them,
Yeah.
and that
Nice.
was really cool. I enjoyed it a lot. There we even had like the chance to play a little bit with them.
Yeah.
um and then towards the end of the class, like we go to the songs. So again, it depends on which age range we are in, but then we use the songs, and the songs are also useful to help them go in contact with Portuguese language,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes we use
Nice.
something very simple like oi sim, oi no,
Yeah.
and then creating that idea of call and response, but then sometimes other songs. um and so it's a very like ludic way to use capoeira elements to introduce in the classroom. So I think that has been like really cool. Like some songs help a lot, like Iwa, you'll be, you'll be, right?
Yeah.
And if we write that on the board, then they create that connection, then they see those on the booklets. Because what Leila also did is that on the booklet, um, she put these QR codes next to the song, so that takes them to a YouTube video where they
Oh,
can
cool.
listen to the
Oh, smart.
song. Yeah, and so yeah, those are the elements we usually use.
Yeah.
Um, and the idea is, I think, to plant a seed, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
For
don't
sure.
expect all of them to like become capoeiristas or anything,
Yeah.
but I think capoeira can touch their lives
Yeah.
in ways that we might not even be aware of.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But if
Exactly.
we can plant that seed, and at the same time, as Leila mentioned, if we can also like promote a little bit more like Portuguese language and the
Yeah.
culture that comes with it, then I think that's like
Yeah. Exactly.
what we
And
want
then,
to.
Leila, do you have like some approach to how to teach the kids, especially the pronunciation? And then, because I'm pretty sure the same pronunciation can be for adults. Like there's Americans, uh, for so it's kind of tricky for because a lot of people say, like, "Oh, if you speak Spanish, it's going to be easier." Yes, yes and no, but
Yeah,
because sometimes in Spanish you say portuñol, and then because it's like they mix the Spanish and the Portuguese there, but for the pronunciation and then the phonetical part of the Portuguese, how do you approach that for the kids or people listening to these doing exercises or something like that?
Yeah, it's both mostly by repetition. So we try to repeat words as
Nice,
many
yeah,
times
yeah,
as
for sure.
possible. The main issue that I see is with sing, because they do
Oh yeah,
like they close their lips in the sim.
yeah.
So no, sing with your lips open. So
Yeah,
but they're actually pretty good, right, with the pronunciation. And we're also like not super focused on that. Like if they
for sure, yeah,
pronounce it wrong, it's still better than
yeah,
not even knowing about it.
yeah.
Uh, we're also lucky that some of the classrooms that we visited have Brazilian students. So they really also they
Oh,
help
cool.
also with, and
Try
they
to
were
show
like
off the
super
kids.
into it. Yeah, and they're like, I got this. So that was really cool.
Nice. Yeah, because the you're right. The M at the end
Yeah.
is tricky. It's very tricky. Like when 10, and then when it's yeah, it's a little tricky. Then do you also have like Leila, do you also have like the kids like write the songs or just like repeat?
Just repeating it.
Just
Sometimes
repeat.
we write it on the board, especially if they're younger. If they're older, we have it in the booklet. So we tell them, hey, open your book to page whatever.
Yeah.
And they follow along. I feel like that worked really well, Beriba, in our last class, right? Just like they had something to look at. Because sometimes just repeating, they are repeating the sounds, but I feel like it's more difficult in their head to understand what they're saying. And
Yeah,
saying the words, maybe it's a little easier. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, but I feel like sometimes it helps them to see what it is that they're saying. Not
yeah,
always. Sometimes I don't feel like it's necessary. For singing now, like they're fine with that song. ABC also really goes fine.
yeah.
More words, I feel if it's a little more complicated, I feel like it's
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. That's actually pretty smart to put in a QR code in the booklet because everybody, especially kids, now also have phones, smartphones, and they can
And
scan that and they can use it.
I wanted them to be able to use what they learned at home. So
Yeah,
that's why I have the activities and I have the QR codes. So like, oh, remember that song? Let me listen to it again. Or hey, let me show my dad or my mom
yeah,
what we did in class today, and then
yeah.
I'll play that song. Because if they had to look it up, maybe they'll mistype something or
That's
use
a good
something
point.
like that, some crazy
Yeah,
suggestions. So I
yeah,
wanted to like vet the
yeah.
videos. So I hope the links don't break. We'll have to like update as we go.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
just like sure the links, the QR codes are still working.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, that's I think that's a really smart approach to just use today's tools to have them approach to any situation. And then you say you started this program this February?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, nice. Then and how long or like how many stages are there or do you guys have like as you say video you said that you guys like framing the work and framing the things. How do you and I know it depends on the time and the teachers and what you're going to teach, but for like especially for kids, because the 6 years old is going to learn different from a teenager. And then how do you frame that and before going to the classroom?
So I know that with kids, up to like maybe 7, 8, I can play a little bit more with interacting with them directly into the idea of let's play. Like this is like a way we can play a game
Yeah,
and using all the elements around capoeira, right? Again, like we're going to bear position and we're going to switch to crab position and then we're going to go or like bananera, things like that. Like um sometimes for them it's like it's the interaction develops, right? and
yeah,
and so that interaction develops in like a more dynamic way within the movement, right?
yeah,
And so there I know we can give a little bit more emphasis to that or work a bit more on that. We in general we keep the same time frames, um, class to class within those same age ranges, because for instance we want them to um, go to the instruments and
yeah,
try them, like because we want the experience to be immersive for
yeah,
them, like
yeah,
not just us up in the front talking and then telling them like do, but also like inviting them to, okay, we introduce the instruments, now it's your turn, so come
yeah.
experiment,
To give it a
play.
try, yeah.
And so they, for instance, those ages that like they get very excited because it's like, oh, I want to try, and
Yeah,
even the berimbaos. So that part is very important because then we start creating that connection.
yeah,
For the older ones, that's a little bit more challenging in the sense that they are going
yeah.
through an age in which like it's a lot
I don't wanna look
about,
silly or whatever.
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna do that, or
Yeah. I don't want them
uh,
to make fun of me.
exactly, like they don't like to be on the spotlight because
Yeah,
it's that age, right, in which like you're starting to trying to figure out who you are, what you want to
yeah,
do. So many things in your head.
yeah,
So with them, as Leila mentioned, in some classes we have had the chance to have Brazilian students, that's helped us a lot to ease the atmosphere.
Nice.
Uh, but when it comes to those ages, I try to focus a little bit more, for instance, in the martial part, like
Oh,
in the
cool. Okay.
kicking and that you have to dodge. And it's
Yeah.
like, so I try to switch the approach.
Yeah.
We also go to the instruments, but then with the songs, I try to challenge them a little bit more, um, not just like sounds and this and that, but like, and also tell them like, okay, I have a challenge for you. Like, let's
Yeah.
see if you can do a handstand, like a bananera, or like things like that. So there, they start like interacting a little bit more into that.
Yeah.
So it will depend. You as a capoeira instructor
Yeah.
know how sometimes you have to adapt to what comes in that moment,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like you try to read the room as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
One thing I like, and I think that it's been like very rewarding, is that sometimes teachers tell us like, yeah, they remember this song they were
Oh,
singing, they
that's
were
cool.
excited about you coming next class. So that I think is a good motivation for Leila and I
Y-
to like
Yeah.
keep doing this.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's like that bit of extra besides the things Leila, for instance, has to do as a Portuguese coordinator, and me besides like the work at the Center for Latin American Studies and this and that, and also like the other projects.
Nice. Yeah. So then you like Leila, you reach out to the school and then you tell them like, hey, we're running this program, this is the objective, the age ranges, and how is that process?
Yeah, so I already had some contacts from some work that I did in graduate
Oh, cool.
school.
Okay.
The Center for Latin American Studies also had some contacts of people interested in things related to Brazil. So, like if they had an event and
Nice.
they're for teachers, so they had a list. I was very, I don't know, direct. I just started emailing people like, hey,
Yeah.
we're doing this. Do you want your school to participate? Would you be interested? Or is there any other teacher in your school that would be interested? So we mostly work with either Spanish teachers or ESL, English as a second language teachers,
Nice. Okay.
6th through 12th grade, like K through 5 is just the grade teacher. So,
Yeah.
but I thought we would work more with like music and gym teacher because,
Yeah.
it's what capoeira is more, I don't know, related to, but these are the teachers that reached back out. Um, and everyone has been super open. I thought someone would be like, "No, I'm not interested."
Yeah.
Not everyone replied, so I guess those are the ones who.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for the most part, all of the ones, because I didn't reach out to everyone in my list, I still have people that I could reach out to. But since the first ones were interested, like I feel like our calendar is pretty full until the end of the spring.
Nice. That's awesome.
Well, yeah, for like if we were to if we continue this project, I already have other people to reach out to. Who I hope are interested. But again, it was just like me putting my face out there and be like, "Hey, we're doing this. Do you want?"
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is I would, because teachers like, from what I've seen, introducing or having their students experience different things.
Yeah, for sure.
I
Yeah.
thought at first that they would like, no, I need to stick to my curriculum and I need to do these things to get the students prepared to whatever. But no,
Yeah.
they've been very open. And I'm pretty sure like for all the capoeira community, like if you reach out to some schools in your area, or if you reach out to like if there's a university also that has Portuguese and you want to start a similar program, I am very confident that people will be open to it and would welcome you into their schools, because we've had a great experience and everyone is so excited when we come in. Like even the teachers who are not the ones we're gonna visit, we're walking in with the instrument and they're like, "Oh, that's so cool."
That's so cool.
So don't be afraid of reaching out, because I
Yeah.
really think it would be interested in some type of collaboration or partnership.
Yeah, because you never know who's going to say yeah. You know, he says for every I don't know, probably like 10 people that you reach out, 3 or 4 people that say yes, it's a good number.
Yeah. And like honestly, each kid that we reach, as Beriba said, like we want to plant that seed and it might grow into an awesome capoeira tree.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All of them will be super interested, but like now they know about it, and before they didn't. Now they've played instruments and they hadn't before. Now they know about capoeira, about Portuguese, and before they didn't. So I'm really pleased that we've expanded their world experience, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then for like video, are you thinking on after these programs, like having like kids programs like on your own, and then you can be like, hey, you know, also I teach this. If you want to try.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually teaching at a community center in Columbus.
Nice.
So since I came to the master's program, I started like having these mini projects here and there.
That's smart, man.
Yeah, and little by little. So sometimes graduate school can be very demanding. Very, very demanding. But at the same time, being in graduate school helped me like with two things. Like first, know that no matter what, I will always have to give like my time to capoeira. I could not live without it. But at the same time, it helped me find ways to connect what I do in capoeira, in like academia and this and that. And putting that together opened many doors. So 2 years ago, when I was here in Athens, Ohio, not many people knew about me or what I did, but then I went to dance school and I said like, hey, like, yeah, we could like have this workshop. Why not? We had a workshop. And from there, things started growing up. And then my advisor, who is like director of the School of Dance here at OU, told me like, hey, do you want to participate in this? Do you want to participate in that? And I was like saying yes to everything up to a point that I was like, why did I say yes to everything?
And then now you're revoked.
But yeah, but what that did was like, you know, like a stone in water and how like that expands.
The ripple effect, yeah.
And it was so crazy because when I was presenting at a conference about my research with capoeira, the person who's now my supervisor at OSU was in that. And then he saw me talking about that. Yeah, Mark was there. That was crazy.
That's funny.
And later on, I started working with him at OSU, but then so they already knew a little bit about what I did with capoeira. And they also gave me like this space to have a workshop being OSU, which is how I met Leila.
Nice.
And now here in Athens, I'm also teaching some dance school students, but I also have like some workshops. I have another one in 2 weeks in a dance studio in town.
That's great, man.
And then in Columbus, yeah, I then started making some connections and I went out like to those community centers and told them like, hey, would you be interested? And finally one of those, which is also very close to OSU, said like, yeah, we're in. And now we have that space on Tuesdays. And so there I'm teaching kids and adults. So you see, everything started like building up and creating those connections. So I think this program is part of that. We sometimes tell them like, yeah, if you be interested, we have classes here. And so we have the opportunity. Once I start the PhD program, it's going to be a little bit more challenging because of my international student migratory status, because I'm not allowed to like work off campus. So that's going to be a challenge for sure in terms of how to sustain like the capoeira community. But at the same time, I think that the connections that we've been able to create with the university, much of that thanks to Leila and the Center for Latin American Studies, the Spanish and Portuguese program, and now I think a little bit of the dance program at OSU. I think we'll find a way to somehow continue the work on campus and
Yeah.
then see how that goes. So yeah, I don't, as I said before, I know we have this goal of planting that seed, but at the same time, I think these combined with those other like initiatives are like amazing opportunities to like just keep growing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then so that's pretty much is a part of the goal to like eventually promoting capoeira there, and then eventually also growing your class using that kind of like a filter, like to start bringing capoeira to those kids or even adults at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my goal is to keep working with capoeira in
Yeah.
any way I can. And
Yeah,
um,
that's smart, man.
I
Smart, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
when I was in Ecuador, I was already teaching a bit, and I had the fortune to have like very good guides and mestres coming here, being far from that community. I
Yeah.
realized that my path as a capoeirista was taking a new like chapter.
Yeah.
And here, when I met you at North Carolina, and I also
Yeah.
met Lovino, I had that like wonderful opportunity to meet like Miss Lovino, and then little by little, that interaction with Lovino started like developing, and then I decided to be part of the of Lovino's group, and then he has mentored me so much, like he's always there all the
Yeah.
time asking me how did the class go, how is everything.
That's awesome, man.
And yeah, and I feel that I've been able to create that network, like support network, within the capoeira community, but also from the other side, like the university, the academia. And I think that can only be good for the projects of capoeira in
Yeah.
like Columbus, Ohio. Capoeira Brazil already does like a wonderful job in other places in Ohio.
Yeah.
And I think that if we can help our community with this,
100%.
my goal would be to do that, right? To help our
Yeah.
capoeira community and the community in the place I live, in this case, like Columbus, Athens, like create space for that capoeira community to work, like to grow little by little. And I think that can be good not only for me as a capoeirista or for like capoeira in itself, but like for the community, right?
Yeah, for sure.
When we
Yeah.
see all the things that capoeira does in people's lives, it's difficult to explain sometimes to someone
Yeah.
who has not been exposed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
once they see, once like the parents see how their kids do in the classes, once
Yeah.
like the teachers see how the kids like become like so like connected with this, it's like then that capoeira magic just happens.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then is like you said, is plenty to see it. And then here to a few years, those kids are gonna be like, see you doing capoeira somewhere, be like, oh, I've seen this before. They probably they're not gonna
Yeah.
remember, but then they're gonna be like, oh, I've seen this before. This I know that I've done this. It was fun. I'm gonna give it a try, and then probably catch few people and here in the future they become capoeiristas in the future.
Yeah, anywhere they go, I'm sure like if they see
Yeah.
like capoeira in the streets or at the universities or anywhere, they're gonna be like, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it will be cool, and then a good chance for them to learn capoeira just like for the future. And then once how long is the program, or you guys planning on doing the program, like all the year, every year for 10 years? I don't know.
Our last visit for this cycle is in
Yeah.
May. It's gonna
Oh, cool.
run
Okay.
to May. And for the future, I don't know. Hope we can keep going like every semester at different schools. And I know that some schools already want us back for next year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, hopefully we can like build long-lasting relationships.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it all depends on funding, on teaching releases, and all of that.
Yeah.
For me, I'm very grateful for the Department of Spanish and Portuguese for supporting me in this. Like,
Yeah,
I could be in the classroom teaching Portuguese 1101, but instead they let me do this. So I really appreciate this opportunity.
yeah,
As long as they let me keep doing it, I will. And as long as Beriba is available also, because I know that he's very busy with all his capoeira projects, but I hope that we can like do a long-term project and have this every semester.
yeah.
That's the feeling.
And during the
What I-
year, you guys offering the program just in spring, or you guys are going to do like the last part of the year too?
I think we could do it in the fall as well. I think there's enough interest for us to do it in the fall.
That's cool, man. That's really cool. That's really cool. Especially because that the schools have like rotation of the kids, so you can have one spot, and then you're going to have many kids. You can so many opportunities that you can see in the future. That's so cool.
And then hopefully like the people who see us next year will talk to the people who saw us this previous year and be like, oh,
Yeah,
now I think
exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then those teachers are gonna meet other teachers or know other teachers, and then the word spread, and here to 1 year, 2 years, you're probably gonna be like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to teach your school because we're already booked for the whole year. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is the goal, right? To be busy and then to keep adding all this information as much as we can.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead, video. Go ahead.
Yeah, like it's a very mouth to mouth thing, right?
Yeah,
As Leila said, we don't know for sure. It depends a lot on funding, and also like, because it's not like we are doing this as something extra and we're charging or any, like, it is an initiative that has pretty much been possible thanks to the willingness of Leila to like put all this together.
yeah,
I know I do my part, but um, those connections were created thanks to what Leila has done, like
yeah,
from the position she's in now, and that's awesome because that's a wonderful way to create those connections. And then even if I start like that PhD program, my goal is to stay close, right, to this work, these connections. I'm sure that as long as we have the support of the university in different ways
yeah,
and the willingness of teachers, we might do this. I mean, I know as every process, I know that the more we do it, the more we will start realizing like what we need to focus more on, or what sort of approach do we want to give it, like do we want to give to the project. And I'm sure that if we're able to continue, hopefully this can become something that is more like sort of like on paper. I don't
yeah,
know if that
yeah,
like, but if we can start like building this process
yeah,
for them, the university have like this kind of approach in like their outreach efforts to the
yeah,
community, why not, right? I mean, I don't think there's like a end of the line. I think it's
yeah,
just, as you know, like in capoeira, we keep learning all the time. And with this, I
yeah,
think it's just the same, right? I mean, I think that our love for capoeira moves us to
yeah,
know that we
yeah,
will
for
be
sure.
working with this as long as we're able to.
Yeah, for
So I
sure.
think that's the goal.
Yeah, yeah.
Since the project is just like pretty much starting now, I think we have room to explore
Oh yeah, for
like
sure. Yeah, and
what the possibilities.
he's going to
Yeah,
keep improving. He's going to keep changing, and then like you said, adapting. You just this is not working that much. Let's change this now and see how that works. And then eventually, until you get to a spot and be like, oh yeah, this is actually working really, really good.
yeah,
Yeah, and then we could do another podcast next year and see how it is, and here to 1 year and see how it is here to there, and how much
yeah,
growth and what works and all that.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
That would be
then
amazing.
you mentioned something which a lot of people are kind of like easily the touchy topic on the getting paid for capoeira. You guys get paid for that?
So
No.
I get a course release for
Yeah.
my outreach, which means instead of teaching a class, so in my contract, instead of being in the classroom, I am
Yeah.
out there. So
Oh.
I don't get paid directly, but yes, it's part of my job to do outreach. And what I decided to do was the Capoeira in the Classroom project. So
that's cool. Nice.
indirectly, yes, I get paid.
Yeah.
But I use
Not
my
direct-
hours for outreach, you know.
Oh, okay. So it's not directly from the schools where you guys teach.
Oh, no, not the schools.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
I mean, yeah,
like
go Leila.
use your hours from class or
Yeah, so Mark Hobb, the assistant director of the Center for Latin American Studies, I work with him, and he's been amazingly receptive to these outreach efforts, right? So this is considered part of my working hours, right?
Yeah.
At the Center for Latin American
Nice.
Studies.
Okay.
Also because I have to drive from Athens to Columbus, and
How far is that?
It's 1 hour and 20 minutes. It's not that
Oh
long.
man, yeah. But it's almost three. It's almost 3 hours on one day, or like every time.
Yeah. And I mean, it's okay. I really don't mind, but
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
sometimes I know what is important about what you mentioned, that getting or not getting paid, is that sometimes these efforts require more than just the perspective of I want to like get paid for what I do.
Yeah.
It's just something that you know that will help you get your goals in many
Yeah.
different aspects. And I
Yeah.
think that once we start like interacting with capoeira and this idea of promoting it and passing this on to the next generations, it becomes something that you do it because you believe in something. You
Yeah,
have a
for sure.
goal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to romanticize this as like, yeah, no, this is like, no, it's like you do something because you believe in that, right?
Yeah.
And even though, you know, it takes everything that is worth working for takes that effort, right? And for me, it's very rewarding, again, seeing like how the kids interact with what we do, and seeing that when we go into the classroom, they are willing to know more about what we have to say or what we have to show them.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that that's also a way for me to give back to capoeira what capoeira has given to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Passing forward to the kids and,
you know,
touching those lives.
Creating those connections.
Yeah.
So that's eventually, of course, it's important that your work, as I said before at the beginning, it's important that we recognize and that we validate, and then we give value to that work of people that maybe does not have like formal titles, but
Yeah.
the job they do within the communities they are in is like much more than that what we do. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I think we have to navigate those challenges. We have to navigate those dynamics, right? And
Yeah.
try to see how we can adapt to that, and then keep working
Yeah.
on what we believe in.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. And then, well, thank you so much, guys. It was cool to learn and see how these projects develop. And then I'm happy also to catch this program at the very beginning, because I'm excited to see how much it's going to grow. And then, like video, I'm pretty sure I'm 100% sure I'm gonna see you again. At least at Los Viños in May. And then
Yeah.
and then there we can talk about and be like, yeah. Oh yeah, are you coming to ours too?
I will try to go the first one, but if you do the capoeira experience towards
The festival?
you know,
Yeah.
I'll be there for sure.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah, for sure. And then, we can talk there and be like, hey, my program is growing. Now he's bringing these people to my class, and he's helping me to grow my class. And I hope I can hear that. And then this year, at the end of this year in October, I think that will be cool.
Thanks, Ashish. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to keep working with Leila as well. Again, I cannot thank Leila enough for what, because she encouraged me a lot to,
Nice.
stay in Columbus and pursue
Yeah.
other career goals, to somehow keep this connection developing. So
Yeah.
thank you again, Leila.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Leila, for your time and then sharing this, and also thank you for helping the capoeira community to or capoeira just also to get capoeira out there for people, and it's a long term
Yeah.
goal, and
Yeah, my goal is like the next generation knows more about capoeira than the current generation.
yeah,
so.
yeah, exactly, yeah. No, that's cool, and then appreciate that because it's you help lead the people, like everybody contribution in the capoeira community helps to for this art to spread around, and not just my city or all the cities, because that's the only thing about Americans. They like to be moving around. They finish school, they go to a few states, and then oh wait, I remember when I saw a kid, I was doing capoeira in Ohio. Now I'm in, I don't know, Alaska, and I'll do capoeira in Alaska, and things like that, or
Yeah.
they move around, and then they see things all over the place, and it's cool to have capoeira everywhere, and that makes me very happy.
Well, thank you
so
for
much. Of course, yeah. And then let's definitely stay in touch, and then we'll talk about this project
Sure.
next year or soon.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Thank you,
man.
Kashishi, for opening the space for us to talk about the project.
Of course. Thank you so much, guys.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being part of this episode one more time. And thank you so much for being part of the Capoeira community. I'm very happy you made it all the way to the end. Now, make sure you listen to the next episode next week, or the following week, or the previous episodes. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. And don't forget to reach out so we can have you on the podcast. Okay. Thank you so much for being part of this amazing journey in the Capoeira community. And I really, really hope to see you one time here in Indianapolis, or I'll see you in the hot next time. Okay. Keep training, keep your Capoeira school, keep supporting your Capoeira school, and keep training, keep loving Capoeira, keep training, keep playing the Hoda. I'll see you in the Hoda next time.